Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode of Heart and Hustle, Visionary Healers, Movers, and Shakers. I am your host, Paulette Rees-Denis, and I am so excited to bring you yet another exciting deep dive interview of people who are creating change in the world, helping the world become a better place, and also living the life of their dreams, manifesting all that they want to be, all that they are, and bringing their soul purpose to the world. So I'm so glad you're here with us today. I'd love to know what you think. Share your comments. Please subscribe. Stay with me and follow along with all these beautiful interviews with all these amazing magic makers. Again, Heart and Hustle, Visionary Healers, Movers, and Shakers. And I hope to hear from you soon. Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Heart and Hustle, Visionary Healers, Movers, and Shakers. We got a shaker with us today. I'm so excited to have Jennifer Spor here with us today. I am your host, Paulette Rees-Denis. I am also a movement motivator and a passion instigator. Most of you know what I do around the world, and have this great show with these great lively conversations with magic makers and people who are living their dreams and bringing change to the world and just creating wonderful community and connections. And Jennifer Spor is with us from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which I just found out where she was. And I've been there and I loved it. It was great. It was great. So welcome, Jennifer.
Oh, thank you so much for the warm welcome. I'm so thrilled to be here and just really looking forward to a fun and expansive conversation.
Oh, I know. We got a lot to talk about. I have questions for you. So I could read your bio, which then I want to stop at like every sentence and go, and what's that? And what's that? And what's that? But why don't you kind of bring yourself in and tell us about what you are about?
Yeah, so wow, that even in of itself is like hard to summarize.
It's a lot.
At a high level, I'll start with what I do through my business, right? Which of course is a reflection of the essence of who I am as well. So I am a channel, a spiritual advisor, and an Akashic Records master consultant, and I also teach the records. And I really work with a lot of conscious women leaders, a lot of spiritual women entrepreneurs to support them in bringing forward their most potent gifts, right? To share through their businesses, through their lives work, to really truly authentically live a soul-led life. And I'm sure a lot of your listeners, right, your audience they already know that there are a lot of layers, right?
Wait, Rosie, that's my puppy dog. Outside. Outside. Yeah. See, I told you. This is the beauty of working at home. Actually, I love it, but she's so great. Okay, I'm so sorry, Jennifer.
That's okay. So, as your audience is probably already aware, right, there are a lot of layers to peel back on the journey to live as our most authentic self, and that's a term that we've heard a lot of, right? One of my zones of genius, if you will, is really supporting people in getting tangible results, that is living embodied as their authentic self, right? Because as we know, there can sometimes feel like there's a disparity, a big kind of gap between what we intellectually understand, what we know, and what we even believe, and then our ability to live embodied as that. So that is a lot of the work that I do. And I also host my own podcast called Path of the Awakened Heart, where I also I have solo episodes from time to time, but I also interview a lot of different amazing people on that platform as well. So that's really what I do at a high level. And as I said a few moments ago, my business, the path that I've chosen to create, and I created that path, really is a reflection of
Mm.
my own passions and how I choose to live my life as well. So the way in which I support my clients, is a combination of my own life experiences that have
Wow.
been
Yeah.
crystallized into wisdom and a lot of training and a
Crystallized
lot of
into
soul
wisdom.
gifts. Huh?
That's a great phrase. Crystallized into wisdom. Sorry, that was great. I love catching these phrases.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I'm the same person outside of my business. I really seek to live, fully expressed in my truth on a day-to-day basis. And as we know, that journey is a spiral. I believe that's why we're here, right? We're here to learn. We're here to be of service to each other and to
Yeah.
connect with each other. Um, and also to just continue to expand
Hmm.
in the human experience, right?
Right. In
I
this
say that,
physical body, here we are.
yes, I say that, right? Because on our journey of expansion, it's so easy for us, again, going back to the importance of embodiment, it's so easy for us to kind of get stuck in those upper chakras or
Oh,
to
man.
get kind of focused in our mind space.
Well, and I love we kind of do the same thing, but we do it in a different with different tools, right? And I love that. I mean, I'm all about embodiment. I'm all about movement and creating magic and being connected. Um, so I have a couple questions for you. So, first of all, a lot of people probably don't quite understand what the Akashic records are.
Yeah, so the Akashic Records, put in the very simplest of terms, is like the library for your soul. Okay, it's this limitless cosmic library. So the Akasha is the field of consciousness, essentially. And your Akashic records are specific to you at a soul level. They hold all of the information for all of your soul's experiences, for all of your lifetimes.
Mm.
And so any topic or area that you're feeling guided to receive, whether it's to receive clarity or guidance around, or to receive healing around, or even to manifest within your records, all that can be done within your Akashic records. One of the reasons I have a lot of tools at my disposal, and outside of the records, I'm a very clear and powerful channel. The reason why I choose to work with a lot of my clients in the Akashic records is because working directly with yourself at that depth, at a soul level, often provides quantum leaps in your growth.
Mm.
So I can't even tell you how many, because I do still offer single readings. So I can't tell you how many people that I've had one session with, even, and they've said, Jennifer, like my life has changed. Like everything just shifted from this session. That's how powerful it is
I love
to
that.
work in your Akashic records. The one thing I will say about this, which actually applies to any approach you take to your ascension journey, is that the more ready and willing and open you are to receive
Mm.
clarity, to receive healing, then the faster it's going to happen. So this is one thing that I'm feeling strongly guided to mention, is that, you know, the number one way and the fastest way to fully embody your power as a master creator is to release resistance. To
Mm.
release resistance in any and all of its forms, right? And it's so interesting and sneaky how resistance shows up in our life, right? In various ways. So that's the high level of what the Akashic records is. what they are, I should say.
Wow. So, okay, so oh, there's so many questions. This is so I want to talk about the divine creatorship, but really what I want to know is how did you get in on this path? Have you always been on this path, or how did you develop your skills for this path?
Yeah, so I haven't always been in the space that I'm in today. So my entire life, as long as I can remember, I've always been very sensitive energetically
Mhm, mhm.
to my surroundings and just to various other unseen things, right? So that's always been there. Like so many people, um, I I experienced a lot of trauma especially in my younger years. And so I shut down any kind of receptivity or sensitivity I had more as a protection mechanism because as well, for those who know and some that may not, right? Living in survival mode is very much a trauma response, wanting to stay under the radar, you know, and to not draw attention to yourself is a trauma response. And so that was really kind of my mantra when
Mhm.
I was a kid, was just like, how can I just keep attention off of me? So I shut down those gifts for a long time and I ended up actually being out on my own at 16. So for many years, I worked really hard and did all the things that traditional 3D society teaches us that we need to do to live our life. And what happened is I actually ended up getting into retail when I was about 19, and I built a very successful career from the bottom up. By the time I was in my early 30s, I was an executive level director for store operations for an entire company. I was one of the only women and the youngest director at the time, right? So everybody's like, so yes, you know, to breaking the glass ceiling and all of that was definitely amazing. What happened over time though is that I was very passionate and believed in my job for a long time because as it were, you know, it turned out that in retrospect, I was like kind of dating my purpose, right? Like I wasn't, you know, I talk about the difference between dating your mission or whatever and being fully married to it. But I loved retail because I really love people. I really love helping people. And that's why I was so successful, I think, in that. And then over time, I essentially ran out of promotions, ran out of those, you know, boxes to check off the list, right, of what society tells us we need to be successful. And that's really when the fog started to lift, right? So I became aware too. I thought this is what my life was going to be. Now it's not. And that really put me into the space of rediscovering who I really was because I started to contemplate on what's next. So I didn't leave my job right away. What I did do right away is I started meditating every day. And that was about 15 years ago. And I meditate 7 days a week, no matter what I'm doing, you know, what's happening. That has become really more of a state of being for me. You know, it started out as a practice, but that really opened me up to parts of me that have been lying dormant for a long time. So I immediately felt guided to everything spiritual, right? So
Wow,
that's really kind of what opened me up.
that's great. I mean, not the trauma part, but but the coming back part, you know. And yes, I think that we all have those gifts, and they do get shut off as we get older from you know children up. So that's beautiful that you were able to reconnect with that and find this new path for yourself. And I've been in retail all my life too, so I get that. I love that. I love shopping for people.
Yeah, I loved my career in retail for a really long time. no matter where I've been on my path, I have my entire life here always been someone who has to have a sense of conviction and belief in what I choose to pursue. And I felt that for a long time in that career. And then it was time to move beyond that into something else. And so that opening up was really the beginning of the end of that part of my life, and also the beginning. As we know, every ending is a new beginning of a whole new way of life. And even then, I had, even when I left that career, I had no idea that I was going to start a business at that time.
And so now this is your full-time gig. This is your business. You have.
Yes, I've been full-time in my business for about 7 years.
Mhm.
So yeah, I ended up stepping down from my leadership role in the company I was working for at the time, and took on some consulting work temporarily. And it was really a lot like the lyrics of a country song I love to say, because it's so true. It's like I ended up, it was a process, right, to get to that point, but I ended up stepping down from my role, rented out my house. I was living back east at the time in New Jersey, and packed up my car and drove across the country back to Idaho. And I grew up actually in Idaho, in a town a couple hours south of where I live now. And then it was through that awakening, it was through that journey of transition, and as things unfolded, that I eventually came to realize the work, to be called to the work that I'm doing now. I losing my train of thought slightly, because there's just like so much to tell about this story. And it's just what I want to say that's key. The one other thing I want to say that's key about this point in the story is just that I had that willingness to take the leap, right? Without having the whole entire path laid out before me. My courage exceeded my fear. I just knew in my bones, I knew in every part of my being that I had to leave, I had to go. What I realized after I made that leap was that there were a lot of therapists, coaches, healers, psychics, a lot of people, an abundance of people to support me on my journey. However, what I couldn't find at that time was someone who could support me in not only relating to what I was experiencing, but to actually support me in the embodiment of who I was becoming. And it was that point that I knew, well, here I am, I'm meant to do this. So I'm going to do this. And that's really where I led to what led to the realization that I needed to just create a whole new path.
And you love it.
Oh, I love it. There have been, the core of who I support has been the same. However, there have been several iterations of me, because we are always evolving, on our journey, and I do love it. I'm very devoted, and I mean, this is my life's work. This is not just a business or what I do.
Right. So okay, so my show is called Heart and Hustle. So you love it. So what's been hard in bringing your business to life?
Well, bringing my business to life wasn't the hard part.
Okay.
I would say, there are two things that stand out, which I feel like many can relate to. One is getting over the fear of being seen, getting over the fear of being really, really visible, because in this kind of work, this is not traditional business, right? It's you are supporting people and transforming their lives and rediscovering the truth of who they already are. And so in order to do that, a willingness to be vulnerable and to share your wisdom and to feel confident in doing that is really, really important in this kind of work. The other thing I would say that was challenging and continues to be challenging, just at different levels as we continue to reach higher frequencies, is breaking out of those 3D constructs. Because not only for myself, also for every client who comes across my path, very specifically as someone that is here to contribute to the collective shift that's happening, and what they're being guided to birth into the world, to create in the world, requires their willingness to move beyond everything they've been taught about business, everything they've been taught about personal development, right? And completely follow their soul's guidance. And so something else that's a core component of what I work with clients on too is being acutely tuned into that, right? So what are your soul gifts? How does your soul speak to you? You know, how does that come through for you? And being confident in tapping into that, and then taking action, right? To bring it to manifest. So those would probably be the two.
And so then going back to you, you personally, because I always love, like, I know you said you meditate every day. What else do you do to step away from the business to tune up yourself?
Yeah, you know, that's a great
Fair.
question. That's a great question, because something interesting what's coming forward right now is to talk about time freedom and how to cultivate time freedom. And there is a very,
That all the time.
yeah, there is, it's not sexy, it's not, you know, woo woo or fluffy or glamorous. Knowing how to manage your time.
My God, that's like my main focus is time management.
Yeah. Knowing how to manage your time is so foundational to
How do you do
stepping,
it?
huh?
How do you do it?
Oh, so I schedule everything. I schedule my time for exercise, my time for meditation, my time for, because I also work in my records and my own records, and I work in my to ensure my energetic field and my bodies stay clear every day. I schedule that. I schedule the time that I allocate to my business. I schedule client appointments. I schedule time for rest. I plan ahead time for play. And then every so often, I just feel guided to throw something up in the air. And when I feel guided to do that, then I do. But I have this foundation, right? That's really strong, that's already in place. And I also have a natural gift for being able to identify efficiencies, opportunities for efficiencies. And so it's very easy for me to see different processes as well, like even growth and how to approach that and how it can be done in a more succinct, efficient kind of way.
And so, I mean, again, that's what I do the most is time management. And because so many people are like, I've lost time, I can't find the time, I'm so busy, I can't do it, I can't take care of myself. When I work with my women clients, it's just like, I have no time. It's like,
Well, that goes beyond also the scheduling, right? The time management, because someone may come to you, I'm sure you've experienced this too. Someone may come to you for support around time management. Well, once you start working with them, all of these other things come
oh
forward,
yes,
like, people pleasing and lack of boundaries, and all of those are core components, right, of our ability
yeah.
to run a business, to make time for ourselves, to do all the things that we want to do, or to not do anything, and to even just create the space to be, because that's more important than anything else. Because when we are free of resistance and in a state of flow with ourselves, then everything else around us falls into place so
Oh,
much
it's such a
easily.
beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
State of flow. Do you all out there, you know what we're talking about? Are you hearing this? It's so good. Okay, um, so you are a hardcore scheduler. That's great. But you do things for yourself through that time, through all that. You've got your work time and you've got your self-care time and you've got your workout time and your fun time. And you know, some people find it hard to be really strict like that. But whatever works, right? Whatever works for you. There's different ways of doing all of that. But what I want to ask you next is what is divine creatorship? Because I'm all about creativity and all about connecting with the divine. So
yeah, so divine creatorship, bottom line, is really being fully embodied in your power as a master creator. It's beyond manifesting, right? Because like there's a lot of talk about manifesting, and the law of attraction is an actual universal law, right? But what happens is, with the way that a lot of the teachings of manifesting are portrayed, a lot of people default to trying to manifest or create from their mind, from their human mind, right? And divine creatorship is a fully embodied creating your reality, which starts from within. And it actually doesn't even start from your mind. The human mind is a conduit, if you will, or a way that the divine communicates to us, and where our imagination resides, which is really important. But we have literally, we are the cosmos, okay? We have the cosmos inside of us. Like, we are a walking universe. And so we have, you know, these cells, and then beyond the cells, we have these atoms, and then beyond the atoms, we have electrons. And the electrons are actually the multidimensional gateways. And so when you get intentional about creating from within that space, free of resistance and all encompassing, I mean, it's a game changer.
yeah.
That's divine creatorship in a nutshell.
I love it. I'm just breathing that in. And that's, you know, it's so much the way that I work too. It's just a whole different wordage and different tool, of course. And I love that. So before we wind this up, I know we could probably just talk for a million years. I know you have a gift for everybody.
I do, yes. So I have this amazing gift. It's a free meditation. It's actually an activation called Highest Destiny. It's channeled through the Akashic Records, and it takes you on a journey of stepping into the temple of your higher self, of your highest self, to actually choose your highest aligned timeline. So if you're someone who is always looking to expand and to grow and to call forward more of your destiny, more of your soul gifts, then this free journey will be amazing for you. I have heard so much positive feedback about this journey. I will have people actually message me and say, thank you for this meditation. I've listened to it like 7 times, and I receive something different from it every time. So
Love
it's
that.
so amazing, and I'm so excited to share it.
Oh, well, thank you. That's a beautiful gift. So you guys, I will have the link in the blog post about that with all her also contact information and all the beautiful things that Jennifer brings and your podcast. So is that on YouTube or is that everywhere too?
Yeah, so you can access my podcast on my website, actually, but it is also on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all of the Amazon, all the major platforms.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're both everywhere.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, do you have any last things you want to talk about?
Yeah. You know, what's coming forward is that, you know, there's a lot to care about. There are a lot of things going on in the world that are scary, and And it's easy, especially because I sense a lot of the people that listen to your show are sensitive people as well, right? It's easy to feel very overwhelmed by everything that's happening in the world. And beyond, donating and some of those other boots on the ground kind of ways to help, the greatest contribution that any one of us can make to raising the frequency of this world right now is to live fully embodied as our authentic selves, to follow what your soul is guiding you to bring forward into the world, and know that 90% of the time, whatever you're being guided to do is not going to make any sense whatsoever to your human mind. And that's why it's really important for you to also be tuned into what truth feels like in your body. Because when you are really tuned into what truth feels like, not what you think it is or believe it is, but what you feel it is, then you can use that as your foundation to navigate all of your decision making.
Mm. Mm. And that's the big question, is how do we live, is how do you want to feel? And to be able to be in alignment with that, your feeling, your embodiment of
Yeah.
all of that, all your desires, all your thoughts, your stories, your where you want to go, how you want to expand.
Yes.
And it's all connected. Body,
There's a reason why we have this body.
yeah. And I know, and especially, and I see this too, with a lot of women as they get older, they lose that connection.
Yes.
They forget how to move, they forget how to connect, or they can't find the time to connect, and so, that's my path.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. Jennifer, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. What an honor and a pleasure.
Oh, so good and so juicy, and there's so much more. I'm going to have you back. We got more things to talk about.
I would love that.
Yeah, so good. And everybody out there, thank you for being here for another episode of Heart and Hustle with me, Paulette Rees-Denis, and our Denis, I can't even say my name, Rees-Denis, and our special guest today, Jennifer Spor. And just so good and so juicy and so deep. And there's just so much to learn and study and intuit and connect with. And it's so good. It's just, there's so much. It's never ending in a beautiful way, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, and thank you for all the gifts that you bring to the world.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And right back at ya. It's not a journey for the faint of heart, right?
It's all, yeah, you just gotta rip it open.
Yes. We desire this path. We have a knowing in our hearts.
Yes. Yes. And it's a quest. And I love that word quest. It's a quest for knowledge, a quest for education, a quest for more, a quest for curiosity. And I love that word too. That's another one of my favorite words, is curiosity.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody out there. Many blessings to all. Until we meet again, I will see you next time.